Now, here's an interesting tidbit. We saw Jada on her show A Different World, and he had a crush on her. He wanted to meet her. So Alfonso, who was his co-star on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, brought him to the studio where Jada was filming her show. However, their meeting did not go quite as planned. When I saw you on A Different World, it was that thing, I don't know what it is, that the bell rings, and I knew that there was something in our energy that would be magic. And so I was like, I'll hook it up. I went to A Different World to meet Jada, Sherry, and ended up marrying Sherry and having Trey with Sherry. Now that's funny. Will ended up meeting his first wife, Sherry, at that taping. Even though he was trying to get with Jada, what's even more interesting is that Will fell in love with Jada while he was still with Sherry. Dwayne and Tisha had a thing at the baked potato, and we sat down and talked. There was a really unique, beautiful power. Yeah, we had that moment and we connected, but I was married and that was it. We did not have an affair. That's right, Jada had to let us know, even though they did not have an affair, Will was still in love with Jada while he was still married to Sherry. However, Will Smith did not want to leave his wife because he had a no divorce policy. Me and Sherry went to dinner, and I remember I had to get up from dinner when I had a realization that I wasn't with the person I was supposed to be with. I went in the bathroom at the Palm, and I broke down in tears, crying uncontrollably and then laughing like, what the heck is wrong with me? I was crying and laughing. I knew that was a woman I was supposed to be with, but I was never getting divorced, right? I don't get divorced. And then she divorced you, Jada said. Yeah, she hit me. Sherry filed for divorce on Valentine's Day, and I still told her, saying no. Wow, you can't have a divorce. She hit me with the, so you're gonna make somebody stay with...
If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video.
Dude doesn't love you. All right, we're not. Watch out. After Sherry filed for divorce from Will Smith moved on to Jada, and of course, they were in love. However, they did have their ups and downs, and they did have their disagreements. Now, Will talked about one disagreement they had in front of a group of friends. Jada cursed him out, and he bopped her on the head with a newspaper and brought her to the back room and set her straight. Now, I know some people are thinking, what? That sounds abusive. However, that's not the type of relationship Will and Jada had. She cursed at me in front of 20 people at this party. She's like, Will, would you shut the... with Trey sitting on my lap. And I grabbed a newspaper. I said, just hit me on my head with a newspaper. We went in the other room, and I said, Jada, this is the deal. I grew up in a household where I watched my father punch my mother in the face. I will not create a house, a space, an interaction with a person where there's profanity and violence. If you have to talk to me like that, we can't be together. Wow. We're not going to use any profanity in our interactions. We're not going to raise our voices. We're not going to be violent. I can't do it. She was like, you're not going to be hitting me in my, hey, get out. She was like, wait, so you would break up with me over some words? I was like, yeah, I just did. I was like, we're not cursing, damn. And her eyes welled up with tears, and she was like, okay. He didn't use any profanity. They never raised their voices. They took communication courses, all of that, and never had a violent relationship, and never will raise their voices. Very interesting. Very interesting. You know, this kind of opened my eyes to the type of relationship that Will and Jada have. Even though their relationship is not perfect, it's not as, I guess, weird as we think it is. Will Smith is a very traditional alpha male, and there are a lot of men like that still, which is not a bad thing at all. I think it's a good thing that Will Smith was able to kind of lead his family and his marriage in a positive direction. But at times, Jada was uncomfortable because she had to compromise quite a bit. So their marriage did hit a rocky place, and they're going to talk about that next week, and I can't wait. Okay, anyway, I'm going to put the link of the full episode in the description box down below. Tell me what you all think about the episode. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.